Welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California. It is a beautiful Thursday morning, December 16th. 9 days till Christmas. I hope you got your Christmas shopping done anyway. Today we got a lot to talk about with Bitcoin, the NASDAQ, the FOMC meeting, and what's likely the outcome of his statements yesterday. And you'll find out in about 5 minutes whether we are macro bullish or bearish on Bitcoin. We covered the short-term price action over the next 1 to 4 hours, medium-term price action over the next 1 to 5 days, and our higher-term time frames like over the next few weeks or months. And just to start things out, are we macro bullish or bearish? Well, as long as Bitcoin is maintaining higher lows above 43,000 on spot price action, we are going to be macro bullish and aiming for the trend continuation, higher lows and higher highs. And so that's getting the macro out of there. But to start things out, what happened yesterday, that FOMC meeting, how do you understand that? Well, just basically this. They expect inflation to run hot and be around for longer than expected. And the financial tightening was not as tight as the expectations were, right? They're not going to raise rates until we've reached what Powell calls maximum employment. What that is, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like in a world of COVID and, Omni, whatever they call it. But I think it leaves the door open for the Fed to, kick the can down the road again. And I believe they're going to be wrapping up the taper by March of next year, and then they begin the rate increases. So hopefully, that puts a Band-Aid on the market for another 3 months, and we get, more inflation. So really quick, I guess let's jump into Bitcoin's price action here. And on the 4-hour, what I would respect is the trend. And, this is a bearish trend. You've got lower highs and you've got a slew of lower lows. And so you do want to respect the trend on the 4-hour and be patient. Why? We do have pretty much a perfect that's a descending triangle, which actually, in fact, are more likely to break to the downside. So any kind of a 4-hour closure below 46,300, and I'm going to look for a move down to 42 to 43,000. Okay, on the other side of that, any kind of a 4-hour closure, and I'm going to leave it above that last high, right? So to be more conservative, call it, 50,500, call it 50,600, somewhere in that range. Any kind of a 4-hour closure above there, that's going to get us back to our major high, our major breakdown area of 54,000. And that's really what I'd be looking for, to wait for confirmation of the next biggest trending move would be a daily above 54,000. And that at least gets us a move back to around, I'd say 59,800 or 59,000. And but overall, a daily closure back below 46,500 is going to look very, very bad. Well, not very bad, actually buying opportunity. That's in fact what I'm hoping for. And as the stock market is breaking down, right? We have said stocks and Bitcoin, particularly the NASDAQ, are highly correlated. And what do you see here on the daily, right? You have a lower low and a lower high, right? So, trend continuation would say, right, we put in, a lower high and another lower low. So would that correlate with Bitcoin's price action? I don't know. It looks like the S&P is having a decent day. It looks like this is going to be a critical level at 4,700 on the S&P E-mini futures. And I'd say any kind of a daily closure back, if you want to look for a trending move, right, any kind of a daily closure above 47,650 should produce a pretty decent move. Where would the target be on something like that? Well, if you take the wick to wick here and you pull that out, yeah, the target is somewhere around 4,800. That would be a, pretty significant move. And, 3%, 4% in the stock market is, pretty nice. And I think that would, any kind of since they are so highly correlated, right? If the market can bounce here and come back and make new all-time highs, NASDAQ above 16,000, call it, 700, that's going to look very good for Bitcoin. But I'm going to get back down to Bitcoin. And again, the name of the game right now is patience, right? We don't really know how the market is totally interpreting this entire Fed situation, whether it was hawkish or dovish. From what I heard yesterday, it sounded more dovish to me. It sounded like more of the same. It sounded like he just wanted to put a Band-Aid on a cut jugular, and that's exactly what it sounded like when Christine Lagarde was on the TV this morning. The lady from Europe, basically the Jerome Powell from Europe, and she said, yep, they're not even going to raise rates in 2022, and they are willing to be financially supportive of the markets, basically. Which essentially that's what it sounded like to me, what Mr. Powell said. But forget about my opinion. Let's look at the charts. And yeah, I do want to remind myself in times like these, very, very important to be patient, right? And wait for a confirmation, right? At least wait for a confirmation. It's really hard to, when you see all the lower term time frames really start to turn up, like a 30-minute, or a 15-minute, and it just starts to, it looks like it's about to break up. It's hard not to, for me at least. But that's why the higher term time frames, they produce stronger moves. So in my, in my strategy, that makes more, sense for me to wait and be patient. And yesterday we had a daily closure that was pretty strong. I mean, this is a bullish engulfing candle here. So just a tick below yesterday's low, and I am going to expect that move down to 42 to 43,000. Okay. On a 4-hour, it is the same, pretty much the same thing, below 46,300 and above 50,500. I am going to look for the move again back up to about 54,000. One other thing I did want to point out is our daily CME Stokes, which are about to cross up on the CMEs. Let's see, it's crossing up on the spot price. And we've seen many similar signatures to this in the past, but basically when Stokes get down here in that 11% read, it has produced some major bounces in Bitcoin's history. And if we do get a bounce here, the bounce to the top side of the range at 54,000 would be about 15%. Okay, if we get a bounce all the way in a break of structure there above 54,000, that's a 35% gain to get back to the highs. And to answer your question, do I think it would stop there? No, I think patterns tend to repeat itself, and that's one thing you will learn in cryptocurrency land. And so I'm going to lean more towards something like that. But definitely, we do have the potential to ride along this channel for, a little bit more time here, and for this market to kind of iron itself out. Yep. So back on on the CME Stokes today, and this is going to be important. If these cross up with any kind of a daily closure above 47,300, that will cross up, and that's the signature you want to see for a big bounce. Okay. And what else is to note? Today is December 16th. And guess what? On December 20th of every month, the options expire. And, you can go back and look, and a lot of the major lows actually get put in on the 20th. Let's see. Look, there's the 20th. That was the 21st right there. I mean, if I just go pick some lows out, I'm sure major lows and major highs. There's September 20th. That was a major high. I don't have time to do it all today, but what I would say is that major lows and major highs get put in around the 20th. And guess what? The 20th is in a couple of days. And are we closer here to a major low or a major high, would you say? And that's the high, right? This would be closer to a low. And when we're talking about a major low, what was the retracement so far off this retracement? Down 33%. Could that get extended? Could we get down to 42? Absolutely. I think that's, very typical in Bitcoin's history and play out a major bounce. I would love to see something like that. Now, if, again, the market wants to pick itself up, NASDAQ wants to start closing dailies back above 16,500 alongside S&P getting back and just, not losing its steam here, right? We had a massive green candle yesterday. Got the continuation. Did we get a new all-time high? Yes, we did. Slight new all-time high. So, again, what else do I want to bring up? Over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about this fear and greed index. And this is another reason why I think, there's great potential for a macro low to be put in here relatively soon. But what we want to see is the fear and greed index, which measures people fear, get down into the extremely fearful zone for a couple of weeks. Right now we're at a 29. That's just, the fearful zone. Anything I think below a 20 is extreme fear. But if you look at this chart, and I'm just giving you one example back here from May to July last year, we hung out in the fearful zone for a few weeks. That was when Bitcoin was around $30,000. And what do we have here now? We are hanging out for a few weeks in the extremely fearful zone. Another time we had it right here. We didn't get quite down to, we did get down to a 27, but we didn't quite get down to those low reads. And that's, the lower the read, the bigger the low, in a sense, if that makes sense. So that's the fear and greed index coming in at a 29. And then we got the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance here is coming in. I know it's already at a 40. I was going to say 41%, but look, taking a bit of a nosedive, coming back to the lows of 40%. And we are taking, and look at this. It looks like we're going to have a few drives of, gosh, is it hidden bullish divergence? Yeah. So in a downtrend, when prices are making, that is just regular old bullish divergence, I believe, right? So, but basically a divergence in the relative strength indicator. So you can see price or Bitcoin dominance is making lower lows, right, and lower highs, but the RSI is making higher lows, right? So that is called, let's see, downtrend prices making lower highs, RS making higher highs. No, it's just regular old bullish divergence. Lower lows, RSI making higher. Yeah, I don't know why I got that confused. I'm going to have to cut that out. So what do we have here on Bitcoin dominance? We have essentially we're making lower lows as RSI is making higher lows. So yes, I do expect this to pick itself back up at some point. Any kind of a break above that 48 percentile is going to look very good for a move up to about 58%. And that means very, very likely as Bitcoin dominance goes up, altcoins lose in at least their Satoshi pairing. That doesn't necessarily mean their dollar pairing. What else do we have? So Bitcoin dominance at a 40%, open interest at about 11 billion, up slightly. The global leverage is up slightly, so not a big change there. But another thing to note is net flows off of exchanges. So yeah, some global net flows out of exchanges is basically a signal that, right, people take coins off exchanges to hodl, right, put them in a wallet, right, a cold storage device. So that's a point for the bulls as well. So wrapping it up on the higher term time frames for Bitcoin, patience is the name of the game. And the more conservative you want to be, the higher the time frame you'll wait for. But for me, in my case, a daily closure back above 54,000. I'm going to look for the move at least to 59 with a short stop, and then probably back up to the highs. And, you know, again, just a reminder to myself, because the 4-hour is making lower highs and lower lows, and in a sense, you got to respect that. And this is some edge for me, right? I think this is something worth knowing, and you know, I do think all the things we're talking about are worth knowing, and you know, we're beginning to see the etchings of this move coming off the back of this FOMC meeting. And, you know, the big question is, was it bearish or was it bullish? And I'd say whatever Powell said yesterday, it does allow presumably for things to continue on as they are, as long as nothing crazy happens, right? Okay, moving on. So that's wrapping up Bitcoin, and it does look like Bitcoin wants to test down at least to 47,890 and any kind of a closure below there on a 4-hour, and I would expect a quick move down to the bottom side of the range. All right, back on. Let's move on to Ethereum, our good old friend Ethereum, and it's pretty much the same thing here. I'm going to take those Bollinger Bands off and try and make it a little easier to see on a daily time frame. And so, yeah, you know, respect the downtrend, right? You've got lower lows and lower highs, right? And until right now, I mean, more aggressive traders will take a trade with a daily closure back above, I'd say, 4,200. More conservative, 4,400. And that would look for confirmation for new all-time highs on Ethereum. And the measure move on this wedge, I don't know how often this works out for Ethereum, but just for kicks, let's take a look here. So you measure it at 50%, and let's say it breaks at 75%. I mean, that would give a move. You know, let's say we come back down here, test, and then break right there. That would give you a move back to the highs. Or let's say we break out right now, and that would be new all-time highs, a very, very nice move. I would be thrilled to see that, and I would be thrilled to get bullish on Ethereum with the daily closure back above 4,400. All right. So, and then lower term time frames right now, I do believe we're putting in a bit of bearish divergence. And what is that? That's when price is making lower highs, right? So we got 1, 2, 3 lower highs, yet RSI is making higher highs. So that is price is making lower highs, RSI is making higher highs. That is called hidden bearish divergence, and that is happening in a downtrend only. And forgive me, even to this day, I still, you know, hidden bullish and bearish divergence versus regular bullish and bearish divergence. It's a lot of fun to figure out, but we will be going over that in a few tutorials in the next couple of weeks. So look forward to that. And what else did I want to bring up here? Okay, so to the downside on Ethereum, where's invalidation? Any kind of a 4-hour, really back below, I think about 38.50, and that's going to give you a move to the bottom side of the range, and any kind of a 4-hour back below 36.50, and I think that target probably gets hit down there in the $3,300 to $3,400 range. And yeah, same range on the daily. You know, really, it's actually on the daily, it's a little bit higher. On the daily, it's 4,400 to the upside, and you know, to be more conservative, 36.50, and more aggressive would be 37.80. Kind of, this is going to be a major pivot on the market going forward. That is your breakdown area at 4,200, in my opinion. A 4-hour closure above there is going to at least get us a move back, you know, heading towards about 4,600. All right, guys, let's jump on to our next little topic here. And what do we see here? Mr. MATIC here. And Mr. MATIC is up 2% today. On the 4-hour, we got a higher high and a higher low, right? So trend reversal there. Do I trust it on a 4 hour? Not quite, because this is going to do whatever Bitcoin does, but look on the daily, very strong. Putting a bounce here on probably our green 55-day moving average. Yep. In trending bullish markets, this one likes to play off the green 55, as most assets do. But this one I particularly like and start to get really excited. Any kind of a daily closure back above 220, and I'm bullish for at least a test of the highs and then probably continuation as the weekly closure is coming up here. And we've been following this one for some time. And any kind of a weekly closure, here or higher, and I'm going to look for some new all-time highs, as this one has been awfully strong. And we did have a macro breakout last week by breaking this trend line on a weekly, and we did say we get new all-time highs. We did get new all-time highs. We just didn't hit the measure move, and the measure move on that formation is up towards about 280. Okay, so macro, this one is macro bullish, right? We got on a weekly time frame, higher lows and higher highs, and the more times you touch a trend line, right, the more likely it is to break. And yep, we've got touches on this trend line going back to May of 21. So that is looking pretty healthy right there. Now, when do I get to be worried about this one again? 4 hour back below $2.03. Probably going to get you a move back to the bottom side of the range, and really bad below $1.80. Okay. So I might as well move that down here. This right here. And this guy right there. There we go. Really clear, nice defined kind of levels, and that's it for MATIC. Now let's take a look at Luna, and this one, very, very good. Any kind of a daily closure above 66,000, and I'd be looking for probably a test of, well, at least 71, and then probably a test of the highs there. Any kind of a daily closure below 52, and very, very bad. Looking for a quick move down to about $37. Macro, though, this one has been very healthy and playing off the red 10 simple there. And with that kind of a reaction, if Bitcoin has any kind of a strength move and actually, breaks back up to 54,000, I believe this one will be a big beneficiary. So that is Luna. But, any kind of a weekly closure above, below 42 bucks, and, this thing's going to come way, way down. Way down from 75 or 66 that we're at today. Okay, that's it for MATIC. And now moving on to Avalanche, which we haven't talked about in a few days because it was acting rather weak. But I'd say this is looking very strong. And typically any kind of a tick above that, the last weekly high in a formation like that does give you a move to the top side of the range, which would be around $1.26. But personally, I'd wait for a daily confirmation. Where would we say the breakdown level is? I mean, we're sitting right on it right here at about 104, but more conservative would be right here. This would be it. Any kind of a daily closure back above 113, and I'd be looking for at least a move up to about 134. To the downside, really I'd be watching it from the 4 hour perspective, and any kind of a 4 hour back below 92, and I'd be looking for, could we go a little lower? Maybe. Be a little more conservative right there. Any kind of a 4 hour back below 93, and probably heading back to the bottom side of the range at 76, and any kind of a 4 hour closure below 76, and that's just not going to look very nice. Not going to look too pretty, but that doesn't look like what's happening right now. I mean, we've got a New 4-hour higher high. Now all we need is a higher low. Could that get put in at $100 or at $93? I think that'd be completely okay. And let's do a bullish retracement here. Should we take it from this low or this low? So doing a bullish retracement here, and basically what this does is if that's the high that we're putting in right now off of some kind of a bearish divergence call right there, this would be your first buy coming in at the 236, and that would be your second, and then this would kind of be your last of Mohicans. If you were bullish on this formation thinking that, hey, we're getting continuation, typically that's where you put some buys in. Again, that's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but just giving you some outlook on how to use a bullish retracement on a Fibonacci tool extension. Okay, so we got AVAX out of the way, and make sure you watch out for our TradingView tutorial. It's just a basic free setup. Put some time into it. Hope you guys enjoy. I hope it's like a little Christmas present or a holiday present for you guys. So make sure you take a look at that. Thank you very much for watching. Have a blessed day. Take care.